Thanks for tuning in. Here we've got a Pro2 CAT5E lead. Now how does Pro2 fit within the Cat5 cables on the market? You have three different choices really. There's those Cat5E leads that leave no room, no headroom for the standard, and they would just hit the standard exactly and won't spend a cent more exceeding that standard, which can be good for some of the suppliers and some of the contractors because you're not spending an extra cent more on your cable. There are cables that will have a margin above the perimeter, which also makes a lot of sense. If you're doing a job and you want to ensure that it's going to meet the standard, the only insurance you really get is by having a bit of a margin above that test perimeter. And the third category is where Pro2 fits in, where we try to maximize our margin above the Cat5E standards. So we want to maximize the standards. Now, how do you tell that? Normally the industry will use a piece of equipment called a Fluke DTX 1800, and we post up all our DTX 1800 reports. We also cheekily include some of the reports for our competitors, just to show that you've got those three categories, and we're talking about the equipment that does exceed the standards, not the substandard product. So no headroom, a margin, and then the maximum margin. So how do you exceed the standards by the maximum amount? Unfortunately or fortunately, it's a matter of spending the money. Now, there are a few things where you've got to spend money. First of all, you've got the conductors down the end here. You'll have manufacturers that will use a technique called flash gold. And flash gold involves putting a coating of around about 3 to 6 microns worth of gold on the conductors, and they will tell you that's fine. Gold is there just for its corrosive quality. So you'll have gold that is both conductive but also corrosion resistant, and they'll say, okay, 3 to 6 is fine for corrosion. Unfortunately, it's over time that we look for. We're not looking for just exceeding the test. We want to exceed the test, but when the customer's got it in use over a period of time, we want to make sure that product maintains its quality. So the technique that should be used is gold plating, and the gold plating should be 50 microns, which all the Pro2 is 50 microns in thickness. The other thing also is you want strain relief, which is here. So if you see a connector with no strain relief, obviously that's going to affect the integrity of the cable. The PVC on the outside, that must be flame retardant, and we put our reports online of the flame retardant qualities of our cable. It costs more to have flame retardant PVC on the outside, but it must have that. Inside you've got the conductors. The cheapest way of making conductors is using something called copper-clad aluminium, or otherwise CCA, which actually, if you put it onto a DTX 1800, you'll find that CCA will often exceed standards, or meet or exceed standards, not by much, but it will. The issue is, again, the durability. While aluminium is brittle, copper is malleable, and you'll find that through wear and tear and the pulling of the cable, the copper's integrity will be maintained while CCA will not. We put on our packaging a few of the specifications, but it's the usual stuff for Cat5. So 100 meg in bandwidth. Again, the objective is to exceed the standards. The packaging for Pro2 is changing from this to the packaging that you may have seen on the HDMI leads, which is the thinnest packaging. It's tough and it's easy to open, close, and it's also compact for fitting in a van.